Salt and Sanctuary combined a Soulsborne series feel with a unique hand-drawn art style and a 2D perspective. The interconnected world allowed your custom character to roam around for hours, finding new armor sets, secret passageways, and a variety of weapons to tackle each of the game's difficult challenges. It was unforgiving, and if you didn't do the all-time best gamer strategy of get good, you would ultimately fail to progress. Somehow though, it did the ultimate task of borrowing another game's mechanics and yet created an entirely new experience for the player. 6 years later, and the solo developer at Scar Studios increased their team by a whopping 100%. This massive team was brought in to handle the tricky task of working on the netcode to allow for a multiplayer experience in the sequel. Salt and Sacrifice, like its predecessor, combined a Soulsborne series feel with a unique hand-drawn art style and a 2D perspective. With the addition of hunting new beasties known as mages alongside your friends, it was set to capture the same feel as the original. So, will this game finally allow me to get good and tackle the new world content, or will I be replacing my monitor after my current one got a controller stuck inside it? Only time will tell. Welcome to Kochiefy. My name is Kochie, and this is Salt and Sacrifice.
Remember why you are here. All mages must die.
Yeah, if you keep coming back to watch these reviews, consider subscribing to the channel and we can grow it together. I'm reviewing the PC version of this game and I got a review code ahead of release from the publisher, so thanks very much. The premise of Salt and Sacrifice is as follows. Alter Stone Kingdom's precious peace is threatened by the arrival of mages, creatures of pure elemental malice. The kingdom has responded by forming Marked Inquisition, a cursed organization assembled of the condemned, charged with rooting out and destroying all magic. You take on the role of a Marked Inquisitor and absolve your past by purging the realm of magic. I'll stop the voice now. The first thing I noticed when diving in was the updates to the unique art style and how it matured from the original game. Everything from the armor of your characters to the deep backgrounds fit together really well, and there's a lot of less jankiness on display here. This is especially true when there's a lot going on at once, and this allows for each type of monster you fight to be easily distinct from another. With a difficult challenge ahead of you, it's time to get into character customization and explore this wonderful world. You have the ability to create a custom character with all manner of hairstyles, facial hair, and the option of what crime you committed before being exiled to this new land. This character creator will also determine your chosen class for the game. There are a variety of options to choose from, and each will give you various stat increases and determine your starting place on the elaborate skill tree. There are plenty of options when it comes to creating your chosen build, and the skill tree is your gateway into progressing through the various weapons on offer. From great big blades and hammers to all manner of spells, thrown weapons, and sword and shield combos, the skill tree will assist you in developing these traits and unlocking new tiers. Alongside these options, you'll be able to level up your various stats like health, stamina, and mana. To make this a little bit more convenient, you also have the option to dump multiple times into a node to level it up. To start on this journey, you take a trip back to the main hub city and spend your required salt at the altar. This will give you items that allow you to level up and also give you a chance to respec levels that you may have misspent if you're looking for a change in your build. There is a vast array of weapons available for creation in Salt and Sacrifice, and each will be suited to a particular build. Each of these will be available to your Inquisitor as long as they have acquired the correct points from the skill tree. Gone are the classic 1 versus 2-handed options from the previous game, and now there are specific options for either great weapons or vanguard weapons which come with a shield built in. There are also weapons available for every type of player, from ranged axe throwers to samurai assassins to spellcasters and more, which really gives the game a sense of replayability. Your main objective here as an Inquisitor is to hunt mages, collect gear and crafting materials so you can level up and kill more mages. There are multiple of these available in each of the sprawling areas, and upon finding a particular interactable object, you'll be directed to kill the next one. The mages will spawn various beasties to fight alongside them and slowly teleport around the area. As you follow them, their beasties will have more chances to drop crafting materials that you can use back at the hub world. Unfortunately, as I continued to progress through the game, the new hub-style world system got more and more annoying. Regardless of how far you have progressed in a particular area, every obelisk you rest at has the ability to send you back to this hub world to level up, craft equipment, and upgrade your kit. While it's nice to have everything available for you in one place, the downside is that you can't teleport back to the obelisk that you came in from. To get back to where you were, this means heading back down to the rune portal in the hub city, selecting your destination, teleporting into the first obelisk for that area, and finding your way back to where you were. This becomes increasingly frustrating when you just killed a difficult mage, hoarded their gubbins, and then you have to decide on if you want to make the entire trek again or risk your ill-gotten booty. I'm not looking for a mass teleport system or anything, as that would make the various worlds feel smaller, but the ability to go back to where you came from would be a great feature to possibly add in the future. Once you have hunted down a particular mage in an area, they become farmable. This allows you to craft more of their gear from various materials they and their spawns drop. This can be great to increase replayability, but there doesn't seem to be a way to tell where the farmable bastards are going to spawn. When the sprawling levels are so large, this becomes somewhat troublesome as I tracked all over an area only to find a mage I didn't want or need anything from, and I would just have to keep searching. Now, the mage killing is a massive part of the game, and the actual mechanics of these fights are great, but that does have a single consistent issue. I love the unique abilities that each of the mages have, and each fight is both challenging and rewarding when you overcome it. The amount of fist pumping that was had after each mage kill had me always keen to fire up a new session of the game. The hitbox accuracy has also been increased here, and you can narrowly avoid certain death with a well-timed dodge. The issue here though is the lead up to each of these fights. You fight waves of enemies that the mage spawns before they teleport away, and you're given another scent trail to follow on your hunt. The first couple of times this happened, it was fine and I was learning the mechanics, and seeing extra materials drop was always nice. But after a while, this became a little bit tedious as I would have to go through 5 or 6 waves of killing enemies, each with a spaced out travel section that would slowly but surely drain my limited resources. This was before I could take on the fight of the mage, and now he's in an area that also has other mobs that were ready to take a slice out of my backside. Sure, you can go back and find the safety net of an obelisk to restore your health and potions, but this also respawns the normal map enemies, adding to the tedium. When these bosses become farmable as well, they no longer have a big boss health bar, so I had no idea how close I was to killing them. There were also multiple instances of chasing around my target mage only to find that there's a second one standing in the arena I'm about to enter. While they do end up leaving fairly quickly, it can become this clusterfuck of bodies, and I'm standing in a doorway remembering that I forgot to bring my sequin mask and lube. The fights that really stood out to me as being the most engaging were the one-on-one instance fights with various named area bosses. From a horse-style huntsman to an Ornstein and Smo adaptation, these fights felt like they came straight out of a Souls game. They're both simple and effective, and I loved each of these fights no matter how many times I failed at completing them. Usually these also had an obelisk nearby which helped on reattempts immensely. Both of the Salt games, Sanctuary and Sacrifice, to me are the equivalent of what Dark Souls 1 and 2 would be, almost to the point of direct comparison. While the art styles there are different and there are changes from that 3D to a 2D perspective, there is a lot to be gleaned from this comparison. For example, the difference between a single interconnected world and a hub city with a portal device that spans off to different areas. In Salt and Sacrifice, each of these areas feel like a thread that you're pulling on until it eventually runs out. This is where your decision comes in. Do you either reset the area and farm for better materials and equipment, or move on to another thread because you've reached the end of this one? It also feels like there's a lot of blocking your progress here, which pads out the gameplay significantly. Add to this, there are doors scattered throughout the various worlds that are locked off until you kill X number of different mages or find a new specific rune. You have no idea what's behind these doors and no way of knowing where things are located in case you need to come back and find them. I felt like I needed another notebook next to me on top of the notes I was already writing for the review, noting specific locations and locked doors to come back to later. This may just be a pre-release review note. Much like my previous Tunic review, I didn't have a wiki available to search for things like how many mages are in an area, or how many locked doors there were, and what was behind them. There was once a point during my third area of the game where I had 2 doors I needed to progress through, and they were both locked until I killed one more named mage. I searched the entire map for about 20 minutes, retracing my steps only to find that the one I needed to kill was in a completely different area. Because we didn't have enough forced barrier to entry in this game with its high death penalty, kill X to open doors, and trekking through the hub world, there's also areas which require specific tools before they can be pushed past. Things like grapple hooks, vine-style traversal tools, and more force the player to explore, and the game doesn't tell you how or why you need to acquire any of these tools. Some of these items appear to be vital to progress, and with limited knowledge or direction from the various NPCs and where they might be, it became frustrating when I feel like I had to explore and map out each area to find what items I may have missed. I have to stress though that once you do discover these items and unlock the many progression doors, the game is much more fun to play. The areas bring back the world's interconnected vibe that many people have come to love. The only issue here is without the direction on how to get them, it increases frustration in the exploration parts of the world even more. With all that being said, the various areas I traversed are massive and change in theme as you explore. From starting in a forest to ending up running through a castle and then down into its sewers, everything in that area felt like it fit together very well. There are options to open doors that make backtracking a lot easier, and you'll find various NPCs to talk to throughout your travels. So at this point, you're probably wondering, hey, Kochie, you're shit at video games. How are you going to finish this difficult challenge? Well, figment of my imagination, I didn't. Yeah. My usual playstyle with these games is to do my best to acquire the gear I can and then run headfirst into the nearest wall of content. If I'm able to break it down, I go on to the next one, and so on and so forth. In Salt and Sacrifice, there are a lot of walls, and when I came up against one I couldn't break down, after a mild concussion, I kept exploring, seeing if I could progress elsewhere. This is when I found another wall of even tougher material, and the vicious cycle continued. At this point, I was about 15 hours through my playthrough, and I couldn't see much wiggle room to progress outside of getting Gouda at the game. Much like that last line, there aren't many ways that I could cheese the mechanics or progress outside of killing these mages. This is due to the fact that I instead found those previously mentioned locked doors or areas that required tools I didn't have. I didn't mind progressing through the later areas as much though, as I did find it easier to kill the fodder enemies I encountered, and I had a lot of the game already unlocked. The music of the game is also something that I enjoyed on my travels, and that did hurt exploration a bit. There are lilting tunes in the background while exploring, and they all rise to a tense crescendo while you're finally in that big boss fight with the mages or named bosses. This will also enhance the experience when you and a friend get to play together. Much like the Soul series, you can now summon friends to initiate the joint hunts, join various groups when you meet the right NPCs, and initiate in PvP battles with other Inquisitors. Unfortunately, due to it being a pre-release copy, I was unable to try out any of these mechanics, but from what I have seen, these systems are simple and easy to use with items available to initiate various sessions. You also have a rune password tool which allows you to narrow down the amount of people that you're with if you're playing in a guild or with a group of friends. Overall, my time with the game is a bit of a mixed bag. The art and animations have been upgraded to be a more cohesive experience, the sprawling levels are good to explore, and the various enemies always kept me on my toes. The various mage fights are unique and allowed me to adapt my fighting style or gear sets on multiple occasions. Unfortunately, the hub-style system town leads to a hell of a lot of backtracking, following mages around over and over becomes tedious, and the kill X to progress system is outdated and annoying. I want to recommend you play Salt and Sacrifice, but it is with the caveat that you know what you're getting into. It is a lot of fun to bash your head against the wall, and I kept coming back wanting to do something new and always had a new objective in mind. There are a lot of improvements on the original game, and for a duo development team, I think it gets a hell of a lot right. Thanks for watching the video. Let me know what you thought of Salt and Sacrifice if you do end up picking it up. Remember to like the video if you liked it, and if you are watching more reviews like this, consider subscribing to the channel. Have a good day. Until next time, Kochie out.